What if the person you trusted most to protect your child was hiding a secret too dark to imagine? What if the hand that tucked your child in at night was the same hand plotting their final goodbye? Behind the locked front door of an ordinary home, 13-year-old Lori Paige's fate was sealed, not by a stranger in the night, but by the very father she trusted to keep her safe. Every whispered plea, every frantic knock on wood, went unanswered as he spun a lie that would carry her into the shadows.
Welcome to Crime Bite.
In this channel, we peel back the layers of those hidden realities, raw evidence, conflicting testimonies, and emotional pleas for help that too often come too late. By looking into these crime bites, you'll see firsthand how broken trust, systemic oversights, and chilling motives can converge into stories that rattle us to the core. If you find this exploration as vital as we do, be sure to like this video, subscribe, and click the notifications button. Together, we can shine a light on the cases that demand attention, ensuring every voice, especially the silenced, finds the audience it deserves. On a hot June afternoon in June 2023, 13-year-old Lori Paige Wiley vanished from the hallways of Griffin Middle School in Thomas County, Georgia. Her disappearance triggered a frantic search. Students and teachers scoured classrooms, administrators paged her through the intercom, and her father, Andrew Wiley, feigned anxiety as he guided deputies through an initial last-seen account. He claimed Lori never returned home from school, that she'd simply run off. Thomas County Sheriff's deputies canvassed the neighborhood while Andrew stood by, wiping sweat from his brow, insisting he'd checked every corner of their mobile home community. He posted worried messages on social media, "Please help us find our daughter, safe and sound." Community members distributed flyers featuring Lori's bright smile and the last known outfit, a teal t-shirt and denim shorts. Vigil lights flickered across yards as neighbors prayed for her return. But beneath Andrew's composed facade lay careful calculations. Unknown to investigators, he'd hidden Lori's body 2 days earlier in a secluded tract of woodland, far from school corridors. His missing daughter narrative bought him time, keeping suspicion at bay while he molded the scene to his advantage. As search dogs sniffed for her scent near ponds and culverts, Andrew scrubbed his car floor with industrial cleaner and stashed his phone on airplane mode to erase incriminating location pings. By June 5th, the canyon of doubt began to widen. A hiker discovered Lori's abandoned backpack beside a dirt road. Inside, her water bottle sat half full, its cap smeared with red. When deputies pressed Andrew for details, his voice faltered. "I thought I'd handed it to her this morning." The first cracks appeared in his story. In the crucial hours when every second counts, why does a father's polished lie drown out the echo of a child's desperate plea? As Lori's family clung to hope, Andrew wove ever more elaborate tales. He insisted he'd driven Lori to a friend's house after school, though no friend came forward. He then claimed a tire blowout on the way home forced him to abandon one vehicle and borrow another, providing a tangled, conflicting timeline that investigators noted with suspicion. Court records later revealed Andrew had booked a one-way ticket to Puerto Rico for June 3rd, the very day Lori disappeared. He scrolled travel sites on his phone just as school downloaded attendance sheets. Yet when questioned, he feigned ignorance. "I was looking at holiday options, nothing final." Meanwhile, Lori's stepmother, teary-eyed, clutched Lori's untouched lunchbox, unconvinced by Andrew's disjointed alibi. Deputies found that Andrew had erased his phone, wiped call logs, and briefly fled to Jacksonville on June 2nd, only to return to Tallahassee in haste. He dismantled his car's floor mats, hoping to rid the interior of forensic traces. Yet in his rush, he overlooked the bottle of industrial-strength cleaner beneath his sink, a can labeled to remove bloodstains. As public pressure mounted, the community's trust fractured. Neighbors who once waved at Andrew now crossed the street to avoid his gaze. The local sheriff's department posted regular updates on social media, urging anyone with sightings to come forward, hopeful that a slip in Andrew's carefully choreographed routine might yield a witness. What makes a parent believe their constructed reality can outpace the relentless pursuit of truth? And at what point does betrayal shatter the illusion of trust? Investigators obtained a warrant to seize Andrew's car, a battered sedan that had served as the family's daily shuttle. Crime scene technicians towed it to the regional forensics lab, where specialists meticulously dismantled the upholstery. Under black light, technicians detected flecks of blood on the exposed metal floorboards. DNA analysis confirmed the blood belonged to Lori. Next, analysts turned to Andrew's hidden stash of cleaning supplies. The industrial formula he'd purchased matched the composition of residue found on his floorboard. Despite his attempt to sanitize, minute traces survived in crevices, imperceptible to the naked eye but luminescent under forensic dyes. A trajectory of microscopic particles formed a map, where Lori's body had been slid, then moved, as Andrew repositioned evidence. In parallel, digital forensics experts recovered deleted messages and location pings. Andrew had lost cell service bars in the woodlands where Lori lay, explaining the gap in his phone records. When service resumed, he texted a friend, "Changed plans. Long story." That friend's phone records placed Andrew near the crime scene at a time he claimed to be on a business call. The sum of these findings transformed suspicion into certainty. The combination of blood spatter, cleaning residue, and digital breadcrumbs painted a damning picture, one that could withstand even the most intricate defense. When physical evidence and digital footprints converge, can a lie survive in the glare of relentless forensic illumination? With the car's secrets laid bare, deputies intensified their search of the Thomas County woods. Forensic archaeologists lined up grid tapes, swept metal detectors over dry leaf litter, and traced drone thermal images for heat signatures. On June 10th, in a shallow depression under an oak's twisted roots, they discovered Lori's body. Still clothed, face turned skyward in silent accusation. The coroner's examination exposed the worst: blunt force trauma to her skull and contusions indicating she'd been struck repeatedly before being left to suffocate. A small sandal lay discarded nearby, a final footprint in the dirt. Beneath her body, soil disturbance and depressions gave forensic teams clues to how long the grave had remained undiscovered. Local news crews flocked to the cordoned site, their cameras capturing sheriff's deputies lowering evidence bags from the trench. A forest that once whispered with cicadas now echoed with the murmur of national outrage. "How could a father do this?" lamented one mother holding her toddler tight. The answer, deputies realized, lay not in the wood itself, but in the twisted corridors of Andrew's mind. What breaks the filial bond so completely that a parent can consign their own child to a clandestine grave and then present the world with a love letter of lies? Court documents hinted at an even darker motive, likely abuse of a sexual nature. Investigators unearthed conversations on Andrew's browser about college-level restraint techniques and pornography search terms flagged by digital monitors. Lori's autopsy revealed abrasions inconsistent with mere blunt trauma, wounds that pathologists deemed indicative of sexual assault. Detectives traced Andrew's phone to rental properties where he'd stayed alone with Lori. Neighbors recalled glimpses of the two entering a vacant duplex at odd hours, returning later with Andrew carrying a large duffel bag. That same bag, deputies found at the woodland site, contained Lori's bloodied clothing and Andrew's partially burned paper records. The revelation of possible sexual abuse ignited further revulsion. Victim advocates organized rallies outside the courthouse, demanding rape-murder charges. The Thomas County Sheriff publicly acknowledged the brutality. This transcends homicide. It's an attack on the most basic trust between parent and child. When evidence suggests sexual betrayal atop lethal violence, how can a community find the words or the strength to confront such an unfathomable breach of innocence? As Andrew sat in the county jail, news of his alleged crimes tore through media outlets. Lori's mother, Sarah Wiley, fell to her knees outside the courthouse, her sobs cutting through the press clamor. She had relinquished custody to Andrew during a bitter divorce, trusting him to share in her daughter's upbringing. Now that trust lay in shards at her feet. Local churches held interfaith services for healing. Parks hosted prayer circles, children releasing paper lanterns into twilight skies. A GoFundMe launched by concerned parents topped $50,000 within hours. Funds earmarked for Lori's memorial bench and a scholarship for girls in crisis. Thomas County's Board of Commissioners convened an emergency forum to address systemic failures. Social workers admitted caseload overload had prevented thorough cross-checking of custody reports. A county attorney vowed reforms, improved interagency communication, mandatory child safety check-ins, and expedited training for officers on recognizing intrafamilial abuse. In the chasm between a mother's heartbreak and a community's outcry, how do we channel grief into vigilant protection for the children still here? In the gray granite walls of the Thomas County Courthouse, prosecutors assembled a mountain of evidence. Lori's blood trace in Andrew's car, the brutal autopsy findings, the digital paper trail of his attempts to flee. Defense attorneys countered with motions to suppress the car evidence as improperly obtained and challenged the forensic interpretation of sexual assault injuries. On October 2024, opening statements set the tone. ADA Mark Silver intoned, "A father's duty is to protect, not to punish with murder." In response, defense attorney Laura Green leaned forward. "Mr. Wiley is no stranger to grief. His remorse is genuine." The clash was monumental, a portrait of premeditation versus a man broken by his own actions. Jury selection dragged on days, each potential juror probed on child welfare beliefs and the weight they'd place on digital versus physical evidence. The gallery was packed. Families whose trust in the justice system now hinged on 12 strangers' deliberations. When judges balance rights against revelations, can a jury truly sift heartbreak and fact to deliver a verdict that honors both truth and fairness? Testimony painted a harrowing timeline. Linda Park, a forensic analyst, described how she found Lori's blood mixed with cleaning solution residues under Andrew's driver's seat. Deputy Carlos Mendoza recounted the moment cadaver dogs alerted to the forced cubby, his voice catching at the memory. Sarah Wiley wept on the stand, recounting Lori's fears about sleeping alone, tears mingling with pleas for justice. The defense presented expert psychologists to question whether hypothermia alone could account for some bruising patterns, and cross-examined digital forensics experts on the integrity of deleted data recovery. For days, the courtroom became a battlefield of specialized jargon and moral weight, each side wielding evidence like a scalpel or a shield. By December 2024, closing arguments cast the final die. Prosecutors argued Lori's death was the apex of escalating abuse. Defense implored the jury to consider Andrew's unstable mental state. With that, 12 jurors withdrew to deliberate. When every witness recalls a shard of horror, can 12 ordinary people piece together a verdict that resonates with both justice and humanity? After 7 days of deliberation, foreperson Amy Watkins read the unanimous verdict: guilty on all counts: second-degree murder, sexual battery on a minor, and evidence tampering. Gasps rippled. Sarah Wiley collapsed into her sister's arms. Andrew's face remained impassive, his hands clasped behind him as deputies led him away. At sentencing, the courtroom brimmed with victims' families and child advocacy groups. Judge Eleanor Caldwell delivered a life without parole sentence, invoking the ultimate betrayal of parental trust. She added that California's recent amendments allowed for no minimum. You will never see freedom again. Outside, candlelight vigils resumed as the community exhaled a collective sigh. Justice served, but at what cost? Does the finality of a life sentence ever heal the wounds inflicted by a life so cruelly lost? In the year following the verdict, Lori's Light Foundation launched statewide, offering scholarships, safe sleep campaigns, and parental education on hidden abuse signs. Thomas County rewrote its child welfare protocols. All missing child reports triggered joint agency investigations within 24 hours, and any suspicious car cleanings prompt forensic review. Sarah Wiley mentors other bereaved parents, transforming heartbreak into purpose. Each May 1st, community members release teal balloons at the school, one for each year Lori should have grown. The cubby door now hangs in the county museum, a stark reminder of what happens when a child's voice goes unheard. When a daughter's life becomes a catalyst for change, can her memory forge a future where no child's plea echoes unanswered? We've uncovered every calculated lie Andrew Wiley told, traced the blood evidence that dismantled his alibi, and sat through the tense moments when justice finally spoke for Lori Paige. But her story can't end in a courtroom alone. It must live on in every reform, every watchful teacher, and every parent who chooses to speak up. Here's how you can help turn grief into change. Share your insights below. What single policy would you push to protect children in custody disputes? Have you ever witnessed a warning sign that went ignored? Spread the word. Like this video to send Lori's truth into more feeds. Subscribe to True Crime Acts so others learn the red flags before tragedy strikes. Ring the notification bell to be first on every future case deep dive. Lori Paige's life was stolen behind a web of deceit, but together we can ensure her memory becomes a beacon of vigilance. Stay aware, stay vocal, and let no child's silent plea go unanswered.